Hello, and welcome to part 2 of the Armor King Basics Guide. Now that we've established our essential moves, we're going to go over some common topics and strategies to guide you through how to put some of that move list together. Nothing else to say, so let's get to it. Poking is a core part of Tekken, but it's very important to stress it here with Armor King. Because of the high risk versus reward on his lows, the most common way to play him is to frustrate your opponent through his incredibly useful pokes. Jabs, down forward 1, down forward 4, while standing 4, and even something like down 3+4 can set up perfect situations for a backdash or a sidestep to create a whiff, which of course feeds right into his strong whiff punishing options. You can even get saucy and hunt for something like counter hit down back 3 if your opponent is really jab happy. Once you have your whiff, you can hop kick or dark upper at closer ranges, or you can shoulder, forward 2-1, down back 2-4, back 3 or something like that for something longer range. If you land any of your plus on hit pokes, consider moves like down forward 3 or down forward 2, or even while standing 2 from crouch for some chunky counter hit juggle potential. Crouch dashing is the cornerstone of a Mishima style. Unfortunately, Armor King doesn't have a hell sweep, so he can't force people into a vortex like a standard Mishima. However, he does have a true 50-50 with his crouch dash grabs, although the reward isn't quite as good as regular Kings. Otherwise, since doing a crouch dash buffers a forward input, you can do crouch dash forward neutral 2 to get forward neutral 2, which is a common tactic. You can also do his breath, which is unblockable, gives you plus frames, and does a little bit of damage. It's not fast, so don't expect it to be a game changer, but you can catch people off guard with it, and at longer ranges, if it hits, you get a free follow-up. And of course, you can do your normal pokes out of crouch dash, like crouch dash down 4 or crouch dash down 3+4. If your opponent starts to duck, you can safely check with while standing 4, which you can do from crouch dash as crouch dash slide forward 4. Be sure to do it quickly. If you go back to neutral, you'll get forward 4 instead. You can also do crouch dash 4, a short range safe mid knee that gives you a free grounded hit, or you can take a bigger risk and you can hop kick. And definitely don't forget that you can do nothing and simply use the wave dashing to bait out an attack. Lastly, learn to smoothly do Giant Swing, Tombstone, and Shining Wizard from crouch dash. Although seeable still, so you can still break them, these grabs are still difficult to break regardless and offer more reward than the built-in crouch dash throws. With limited string pressure due to AK's lack of scary lows and canned mix-ups, down 2 and forward 3 are the two most commonly used moves for string pressure and deserve to be mentioned as their own separate section. Down 2 is a solid overall mid-poke, only -5 on block and good plus frames on hit, but the threat of the follow-up down 2 4 3 will typically stop people from challenging it on block, which makes the -5 a bit more versatile. Down 2 also leaves AK in crouch, so you can do something like his full crouch throw or check your opponent with a while standing 2. Down 2 is fairly linear, so be careful with that. And also, if your opponent blocks down 2 4, they can punish you with a jab string regardless of whether you finish the third hit or not. The only difference is that they'll get a float if they do the 3, although there are some characters whose jabs hit a little high and will still lose. Armor King being one of them, weirdly enough. Forward 3 has a similar function, but is a bit safer after the first hit, tracks a little better, and is even a bit faster at I-16. The first 2 hits of the string, forward 3 4, are both mid and safe. Because of the third hit, you'll see a lot of AK players buffer grabs after either of the first 2 hits. The third hit, forward 3 4 3, can be canceled by holding back, but it's mostly there as a timing mix-up or bait tool. Note that the last hit wall splats and the full string is a natural combo on counter hit, and it's also very easy to confirm the last hit if the first one lands counter hit. The last hit is also guaranteed if the second hit connects, counter hit or normal. Since people like to duck against Armor King a lot, you can use that to try to catch people ducking the second hit at the wall. Again, Armor King doesn't have much in terms of chunky lows, but he does have grabs. First, it's possible to buffer Giant Swing from full crouch, something you'll see commonly after down 1 or down 4. His down forward 2+3 grab can also be done from full crouch. Otherwise, you can use down 3 or down 3+4 as your low options. By the way, in full crouch, you can also do the ollie kick as full crouch down forward 4. Now for mids, you can go for a hop kick or while standing 1 for a launch. Full crouch down forward 2 also launches and is +1 on block, but it's very, very slow. Depending on how you go into full crouch, you can hunt for counter hit launches with something like while standing 2, but be mindful that while standing 2 is -10 on block. Or you can play really safe and just do a while standing 4. Unfortunately, Armor King doesn't have a lot to initiate a full crouch game with advantage. You can either raw duck in select spots, or you can use down 2, down 4, down 3+4, or even shadow step, all of which leave him in full crouch. You can manually do shadow step by pressing down 1+4 or down 2+3. You can also transition via down back 1+2 down or forward forward 3 down. If a parryable low connects with the stance while he's in the startup animation, he will do a low parry, and he's also low enough that he'll go under highs. Otherwise, there are only 3 things that you can do from this stance: 1+2, 2, or nothing. 1+2 is a mid tackle, the 2 is a low, and doing nothing will simply leave you in full crouch. First, if you nab the tackle, you can time a shoulder and it will connect if they move in any way. Although this is a little dependent on how big the hurt boxes of the character are. If it gets blocked, you're left grounded. Now, no character to our knowledge can juggle him from this, so how badly you can be punished will depend purely on how good your opponent's ground hitting moves are. The stance low, on the other hand, is pretty standard for a chunky low. It's +5 on hit, -13 on block, can be low parried, and on counter hit gives you a knockdown for a free grounded follow-up. It also leaves Armor King in full crouch, and if you're considered crouching the entire duration of the move, so you'll have the protection from highs. Now, you might think that this would qualify as a really awesome move for any character. The only downside is he has to go into this stance to do it, so it's not as applicable as you might think. Now from forward 3 down, the tackle is only beatable by very specific things. Once you have them playing defense, you can do the low or wait and do full crouch grabs, etc. Down back 1+2 down is similar in that the transition is fairly ambiguous, so the tackle will catch people trying to react to it. Just keep in mind that if you do the cancel from down back 1+2, there's no hitbox, so you're relying purely on the animation freezing your opponent. Otherwise, they'll just hit you out of it. We're going to go over AK's throws quickly, then we'll talk a little bit about how to implement them since they are an important part of his game. The good old Giant Swing is an I-10 grab, 1 break, can be tech rolled unless you're at the wall, in which case he'll throw them into the wall. If out in the open, it does provide some decent running oki. Tombstone is an I-11 grab, it's a true 2 break. You get a free 2-1 if your opponent tries to stand up afterwards. A get-up kick from them will beat your options, including the forward 2-1, but you can sidestep or block and punish it in that case. DDT is another I-11 grab, 1+2 break, free low get-up kick for Armor King if they do anything other than a backstand. Quarter circle back 1+2 is also an I-11 grab, another 1+2 break, gives good spacing on hit, also gives a small wall splat for better plus frames if you're at the wall. While running 2+4, also known as Shining Wizard, is another I-10 grab. It's a 1+2 break, decent spacing on oki on hit, same animation as in throw animation as the Giant Swing, so learn to do both grabs from dash and running for a very good mix-up. Down forward 2+3 is a 2 break, can be done from full crouch, gives decent oki spacing on hit. Full crouch down back 1+2 is a 1+2 break. Nothing for free afterwards, but very, very good oki. Crouch dash throws are a true 50-50 as mentioned before. Learn the full chains and all the different routes. Note that if your opponent breaks on the 3rd or 4th part, AK is left in a bad oki situation with him on the ground, so it is not bad at all to cut the chain short to take the better oki. Again, note Armor King's lows are very underwhelming in terms of breaking defenses, so grabs are how you're going to accomplish this. Practice doing these from crouch dash, not just the built-in crouch dash throws, and regular dashing. Learn instant Shining Wizard, practice buffer timings for things like down 4 into Giant Swing, and throw grabs as often as you can. AK's pokes are very, very good, so you will find that there are lots of opportunities to follow up with a grab, even if a poke is blocked. So that's a wrap on part 2. As is now our custom, we got one more part left where we'll talk Punishers, some Juggles, and some other folks you can watch to try to get more tech and a general idea of how you can play Armor King. Otherwise, I hope this information was helpful and that you enjoyed the video. As always, this is not super duper comprehensive. There's always more depth to be had than what we can present in a 10-minute basics guide, but my hope is that this will get you started. So with that, shill time. Check me out on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, etc. Links are in the description below. Big push is Patreon. It's the best way you can support indie content creators, so check that link out as well. I will now bid you adieu, stay safe, and we'll see you later.